All right, guys, how's it going today? Still Trading coming to you with another live stream. Our first live stream that we've been back in about a month. I was on a long vacation for about 2 weeks, so it's nice to be back in the saddle and back at it. First things first, guys, shout out to the stream sponsors of CoinCatch. They are the perpetual exchange of choice that I like to use as far as trading goes. They have a lot of good pairings, good liquidity, no KYC, no VPN, so please get on over there and use them if you are looking for a new perpetual exchange to use. We're just gonna get into npoc levels on BTC. And so for me, guys, and for you, it just depends on how you want to trade this. Low term time frames, medium term time frame swing trades, high term time frame investments. But we're just gonna go over our normal setups. Again, I haven't done setups in a while here. The last one I did was literally almost a month ago on the long side, but it really does kind of stay the same. This was a banger, that 105, 104 npoc print retest to get long at. Came down, tapped that perfectly, and then we had a massive extension into all-time highs of about that 123K area. If you're sidelined, this is where you like to join, and this is where we like to kind of talk about things. So for me, the npoc levels that I really like to look at are the ones within range. We kind of talk about that. We have 102,560, and then we also have these down at 109 and 111. So when it comes to npoc prints and when it comes to current range trading, it doesn't really matter much where price is. It's just a pattern recognition that we're looking at getting an entry on, right? So for me, the next area of interest I'm looking to long, even though I am long on some low-term time frames on BTC. Here's a 30-minute. As far as npocs go, I'm not looking to really long anything on npocs until down we get a retest of these prints at 109 and 111. I think I do actually have that as a long, so I'm not going to recreate that for you guys. Just know that's where I'm looking to long next. That's what I'm looking to do. As far as why I'm in a long right now, well, that's based off of a low-term time frame current range. But as far as npocs goes, this is where we're looking to long, looking to short. We don't have anything short yet. Again, this was where our short interest was. Kind of got blown out of the water at that 109. There was actually some decent short trades kind of within this price before the move higher, but for right now, that one has kind of been invalidated, and we're just going to kind of continue to move forward here. As you guys know, I have really been off the short trigger. I did try and hedge ETH a little bit with a small position size. That got blown out of the water, so there's no reason, in my opinion, to be shorting. I think that if your bread and butter is shorting, then yes, stick to it. But as far as me, my bread and butter is waiting for a discounted buy level, buying into those levels, and then riding them for a move higher. And so for right now, as far as the short game plan goes that we'll create, not interested in shorting until we get range high. I think that that would be a decent area to position yourself as far as a hedge. These aren't going to be massive entries to the short side. They're just going to be to kind of offset all of your long exposure within all of your holdings, right? These are the setups that I'm looking for on BTC based off npoc prints, right? So not going to hound this too much. There's not really much else to watch. Yes, we do have npoc levels all the way down here at that 101K and that 94 and 91, but you guys know I like to trade within the range, right? So those are a little bit too far out of the range right now. Now, does that mean that they won't get retested? I don't know. It's possible. It's possible that we get those retests, but for right now, we're focusing on the low-term time frames. On the 30-minute, I still think there's a lot of momentum across the board, across the crypto industry. But npoc prints, guys, this is what we're looking for. Short, long. I like to keep it within range. This is probably the high term time frame range. A lot of people are wanting this retest of about that 110, and I get the reasoning for it. I just don't think it happens just quite yet. You know, we have a resistance level, impulse move up, then that turns to a support. People want that support level to buy into, and then we can move higher. So again, that is why I am looking to long that area if we get it. Now, does that mean that we're going to get it right away? I don't know. We can have a move higher. We can kind of chop within this area before we have that move down. There's multiple scenarios that we can consider, but all I do know is what I do like to talk about is that we are ready and willing to long that 110 retest if we get it, right? When does it happen? I'm not 100% sure. I cannot tell the future. The only thing that I like to do is I like to use these setups to kind of help predict the future. It's a very similar example to right in this after this impulse move higher, right? We got this move up, started to consolidate a little bit. A lot of people wanted that retest of 99K, but it took time to get there, right? We had another impulse move higher. We had some chop within that, and then we finally got that. And so maybe that's exactly what's going to kind of happen within BTC right now. We get another impulse move up, we chop a little bit, and then we get that retest. And again, it kind of chops people up. You know, people are wanting the retest sooner, it happens later, that sort of thing. So this is really a good stair stepper pattern that I'm looking for on BTC based off just some previous price action that happened not too long ago, you know, all the way back in June of 2025. So it's just kind of the way that I'm looking to play this going forward. The Bitcoin top indicator, guys, this is what I do look at a lot. If things start to flash and things are going to be saying, this is a top signal. Again, the ones that I really like on here are NUPL, CVDD, and MVRVZ score. Those are the three that I really focus on the most. Again, free indicator on TradingView by DeProof. Again, this is an anchor 1 week chart. Do not be trading low-term timeframes based on this, right? Like, don't just jump into a long. There's no top flashes yet, so we obviously are going to go higher. Terrible strategy. Always go down to the low-term timeframes and construct a trade based off those if you're trading the low-term timeframes. If you're a long-term investor and you don't give a fuck about the low-term price action, then yes, by all means, I think that this is a good way to kind of read those Bitcoin top indicators. So this is what I'm watching. We have not flashed bright yellow since May of 2021. You could argue November of 2021. Sure, we were flashing some there, but at the end of the day, I still think higher on Bitcoin. I still think higher on Ethereum. I still think higher across the crypto industry. Let's get into Ethereum. Ethereum is a little bit more dicey as far as npoc prints goes, guys. There's really been no range on Ethereum to kind of talk about. So it might be a little bit quick just because it's been such a massive extension higher to where range trading isn't really effective if the range hasn't been created yet, right? So that's kind of with the patience on Ethereum. So more focused on BTC just because it's a little more clear as far as the range trading goes on the low-term time frames. Ethereum on the 30-minute, it's just been impulsing higher the whole fucking time, right? So that doesn't mean that a top won't happen, but I still think that if the trend is still trending, let it fucking trend. Don't fight it. But on ETH, there's not much. I still think that we can extend to 4K area. I'm not really worried about anything on Ethereum until we hit that 4,015 npoc print from all the way back in December of 2024. So literally last year, we're starting to dig into a lot of these npoc prints on Ethereum. And so again, when it comes to that, again, just let it be. It's trending. It's going higher. There's no point to overcomplicate things. As far as like a dip buy, yes, you are shit out of luck on a dip buy on Ethereum right now because there's been no dips. You would have had to buy like a 0.5 to 1%, maybe a 2% move to the downside. And a lot of people aren't really willing to do that. Like we got a 3.85% dip on Ethereum 3 or 4 days ago, but a lot of people probably weren't buying that. A lot of people were probably thinking top. They wanted to retest lower. Even myself, I don't have any interest in buying Ethereum right now. But again, know your strategy, know your overall holdings. I have so much Ethereum that it doesn't really matter to me what happens on these dips, right? And I've told this story before, right? Just going into the high term time frame on ETH here, I round tripped the shit out of Ethereum in 2021. Didn't sell a fucking thing. But for me, what's the point of that, right? Yeah, maybe I could have traded and managed it a little bit better into this move higher. But again, now that we've seen the downside, now that I've been able to dollar cost average still lower on spot bids, now that we are completely back above all of these lows from 2022, 2023, and we're now testing those highs of 2024, now we're in a good spot, right? And so for me, I still just don't want to sell a lot of my Ethereum, and I still don't want to add any more Ethereum. Been adding over the course of 2 years when everybody hated it, when everybody said Vitalik was a piece of shit, when everybody said that Ethereum was going lower, they were switching chains, they were switching to Sol chain, they were switching to BNB chain. Vitalik's done, ETH is done. Now it's not. Now everybody wants back in. And so for me, that's just always been kind of my mindset with Ethereum. I think it's pretty clear where the retest for CRV would be that I would want, right? And this is just high term time frame, 4 hour. It's very clear. Where this previous highs was of about that 86 cents. That's where I'll be a buyer on CRV again. I made a pretty good amount of money on CRV when I was in Portugal with this, so I'm not really willing to rush in and give any of that back at this point. Then we could go down to the 30-minute chart and see, kind of where it's kind of formulating. Again, it's really kind of formulating what Pengu's had, where it's like that wedge type of price action. You have, something like this. And again, these work in trending markets, guys. These type of patterns work when everything's going up, right? Because they're breakout patterns. It's a trending market up. So they work, right? So it would be something like that on CRV for another move higher to at least that range high of about 108, right? That doesn't mean that it's going to go all the way to $2 or 150, but I was long CRV for a reason. I still think CRV is a good play to be buying. I think that there's a lot of people backing it. I don't know the logistics of CRV. I'm not like this huge CRV fucking maxi or anything. You see a good setup, right? This is kind of exactly like that Pengu triangle setup that we just had, right? It was kind of like that flag forming. Same thing. You kind of have that flag forming here and then looking for that coiling to break out. So I think CRV actually looks really good here. So Sui was another one that I round tripped like a motherfucker last, cycle that I'm still kind of holding on to. But again, bigger picture, right? Bigger picture. I didn't need the money. I didn't want to take the money on that. So I still think higher on Sui. I still think I have like an overall target in my head of like $10 on Sui. But I have a Pico bottom entry on Sui of right in this area, right? I think mine is like 38 cents or 36 cents. This is where I'm holding long from Sui, guys. So I talked about it in a live stream. We created this little game plan right here in a live stream, and all I did was stick to that game plan, and I bottom tick the Pico bottom of Sui, round tripped here, round tripped a second time, but I still think that Sui goes a lot higher. And again, I'm not really going to do technicals on this because it's one of those ones that I want to go higher regardless, so I will be a little bit biased. We can look at some low-term time frames and just kind of see if there's any sort of pattern forming. But again, there's not much, right? Had a nice extension higher into May, sold off with everything kind of going on with the war, and then here we are again, right? I think this was the tariffs, right? So we were at all-time highs into the new year. The tariff downside happened. Boom, we had a nice extension higher with everything, and then the war downside happened. And then so, these are all emotional trading downsides, right? It's not anything to do with the chart. It's not anything to do with the project and what they're building, what they're doing, the people backing it. It has to do with outside factors, right? And if you can kind of wrap your head around that, it had to do with tariffs. It had to do with the war. It had to do with a lot of things that had nothing to fucking do with Sui. So that's kind of why I'm still like a Sui maxi as far as like my high term time frame holdings. BNB is one of those ones, as far as perp goes, I definitely fumbled, but this is new all-time highs here. Like this was the last time we talked about BNB, and I mean, just look at how beautiful it was. I was long BNB at like 570 all the way down to like 550. It's just, I took profits. I think I even took one trade for a loss, which is pathetic, but it was a higher term time frame trade. I needed to have a little bit more patience, right? So when I was initially longing to where we are now, it's about 105 days, right? So that's a lot of days to be holding an active perp position open, right? But the setup was there. It probably should have been more of a spot play. I do own spot BNB, but from a lot lower. At the high term time frames, this is a take profit area for me. Up at this high term time frame upper limit. I'm not a breakout trader. If you are a breakout trader, by all means, this could be a good one. But for me, I like to have my strategy a little bit different. You could see something like this, then a move down, and then above 1,000. I mean, BNB is kind of just like a no-brainer just because it is like the fucking top exchange out there. So I am not the biggest pump.fun fan. I think that pump.fun did a lot to kind of ruin the space, but as I've talked about before on Twitter, I was talking to Zach XBT about it. Like, pump made it very easy for users to get in and gamble, which crypto is still a very gambling heavy industry as far as casinos and as far as just gambling on meme coins, right? So pump.fun did a lot to kind of bring that into fruition for a lot of people, a lot of average users that maybe didn't know what they were doing on like a MetaMask Web3 extension or like all these wallets. Pump.fun just made it easy, right? Or even just to create. I think it gets a hated rally at some point. When is that point? I don't know. I fumbled it right here. I sold it there. But I do think that pump.fun has the potential for a massive hated rally. And what do I mean by that is a lot of people are hating on it. A lot of people want it to just go away, right? But it's not going to. So, as this has trended down so much from its initial launch, you still got to understand it's at a $1 billion market cap. Something that's at a $1 billion market cap. Well, there's a lot of people involved in that. It's not just those, micros that are just launching. This is at a $1 billion market cap, guys. There's going to be a lot of people that don't want this to fail. So what does that mean? Well, I think that it does get a hated rally at some point, right? You have a range on it here. Again, this is all low-term time frame. This is a 10-minute one. It can easily pull something like this. I like Pump. I like this chart. I have no affiliation with pump.fun. A lot of people are getting accused of being KOLs of pump.fun or this and that. They're getting paid. Like, it's at a $1 billion market cap, guys. Like, this is one of those ones that I think at some point it has that hated rally. When does it happen? I don't know, but I do like pump. And I've said that the past couple days since I've been home. Mistraded it, took a loss. It is what it is, but I still like it as a setup. Just because I took a loss on a trade does not invalidate the setup at all. It means it was user error. Thank you for everything. Thank you for being a part of Trade with Castillo VIP Telegram. There will be a $500 giveaway coming this week. I'm not sure when it's going to be. It's going to be either Monday or Tuesday, depending on when the editors get this done. I'll probably connect like a giveaway to that for like a retweet. That's it. That's normally all my giveaways take, guys. All you have to do to enter is a retweet, and they're exclusively to the VIP members. I don't post the giveaway on Twitter. I don't post it anywhere else. It's only for you guys. It's only for the ones that are really, really dedicated to wanting to learn my style, really the ones wanting to learn and kind of absorb my content. But I appreciate all of you joining the stream, and I will see you over in the Telegram. Peace out.